Hello everybody, this is Lila. I've been making some items from handkerchiefs. These are all vintage handkerchiefs that I have. I have a big bag of handkerchiefs, not so many white ones, but and of course a lot of them they were all old, but a lot of them were stained, so I went ahead and I soaked them in some booze, and then I hung them on my clothesline to dry overnight, and they came out nice and white. And each one of these items that I made take one handkerchief, no other linen at all, just one handkerchief. Now I did reinforce them with some felt, and I used white felt, or sometimes I used white cuts to put inside. I'm going to do a video, I think, on how I did these. I'll probably do one thing at a time. Like this is the postcard holder that I made, and this of course was one handkerchief, and all I did was I actually had to cut it down a bit because it was too tall, and in order to maintain all of the laces I cut them off and sort of sewed them on, stitched them on to the edges. And the only technique that I did really was fold down one corner, which is inside here, and then I've applied felt over top of that. And this is the tie that goes around, it's seam binding, but it's also the place where you can put the card. You would put it that way, and then on this side here's another one, and here's the seam binding that holds that in place, so that when you close it up, there it is like that, and there you have it like that, and it ties with this seam binding. So that's for cards, and that could be for photographs, a letter even, a love letter, a Valentine letter. That's entirely up to you, but I just was playing with these handkerchiefs. Okay, so the next thing I made was a sewing needle case. This one also was one handkerchief. I did cut it down and applied the edge of it to the edge. Let me see. When you open it out like that, I have cut the handkerchief down to the size I wanted it, and then I reapplied that crocheted bottom with the trim onto this. You don't even notice it, but it's sewn on there. That way it's stitched and the crochet edges all the way around. On the front I put just a little graphic thing there, a couple of buttons and a bow, and underneath here is a piece of Swiss eyelet lace. Inside, on this side, I did put some card. I wanted it a little bit firmer there, so there's some card inside there. And these are the pages for your needles and the white felt. And on this page I put a piece of tape, which is actually kind of a ribbon, not a real tape measure, but it measures the same. And then of course you would tie that also with the white seam binding. Nice little gift set, maybe to someone going away to school or something like that. The last one from one handkerchief was this folder for a notebook, for greeting cards, old photos, oh, you name it, whatever. On the cover, it is one handkerchief. This was quite a big handkerchief, and I was able to, I'll show you the cover in a minute, I was able to fold it up. So this is one hanky, and then folded up about 2/3 of the way. Before I stitched the pockets, which are pockets, before I stitched those, I put an adornment of some sort on each pocket. On this one, I put a stamped motif, and then there's some scraps of fabric behind that and a little piece of ribbon. This one has a piece of lace and a button. This one has a word stamped onto some tape, and I made a little patch out of some leftover cotton, embroidered cotton. And then of course there are the 3 pockets, and this particular handkerchief, as you can see, has lovely tatting all the way around. So I used the top, which is the tatted top, tatting off the bottom of the handkerchief, and that now is the top of the pockets. And up here I put a little bow of some scrap where is it? There you go. And a button, and each pocket can have items inside. This one, I've made some French cards, and they could go in the pocket. You could put old photographs. You could put a gift card to Barnes & Noble, notebook. I put a notebook inside that I made just to give you an idea. And this little notebook is just strictly, you know, a little book to put in your purse or somewhere. Just little blank pages. The cover of this one has some, of course, had to have some glitter somewhere, particularly if you have an angel. So I had an angel motif that I've used in the past, came from an old book. I put a lovely diamante button down the bottom, some more white embellishment. It's a motif actually, and then she's surrounded by just layers of tulle and little bits of lace and some frayed materials, and then up at the top there's a street label, cut off something, and I just put it on there, and I've covered it with some organza to sort of subdue it a little bit. And then of course you see the lovely tatting all the way around. So this one closes also, let's see, it goes this way, and it closes again with some white crinkled seam binding. So those are my 3 items using one handkerchief each. And I'm going to do you a little video on how I go about these, because I've got some ready already. And I'll just show you quickly. This is the needle, no, this is the card holder, this is the needle book, and this is the folder. They're really fun to do, and they're quite fast. As long as you have some white card and some white felt and a few buttons, you're off. That's it. Thanks for watching.